we think misinformation and disinformation is a big threat to people's safety and to our society and to our economy as well. And we want to hold the big tech platforms to account. And the steps that we are taking when it comes to misinformation and disinformation are about protecting and cherishing and advancing free speech, not censoring it.
How good is your memory? I remember a few years ago, the politicians saying, in order to keep you safe, remember that word, safe, we're going to have to remove some of your freedoms to deal with this pandemic. And I did a few rants about it then, and other people like me did, and there was a few protesters who were getting pepper sprayed and shot who just really wanted to have a debate. Really? You sure we should go this route? Can't we talk? Because no one in mainstream was having a debate about it. They weren't challenging it. The unions weren't challenging it. The doctors, the judges, the police were enforcing it. None of them were challenging it. And so with a deep feeling inside us that something was really wrong, we went to the streets and we were met with rubber bullets and the like. And I remember one young artist, an actor I think, he commented on one of my rants, I don't mind handing over my freedoms to the government, and then once they fix the problem, they'll hand them back to me. Well, here we are. We still have medical people who can't work in Victoria because of the mandates. Even though COVID is no longer an issue, even though we all know the vaccines are dodgy, they still can't work. So that freedom never returned. And most of Melbournians are too terrified to speak about anything that matters, so they just stay silent. They just glaze over if you talk about anything that has meaning. And so in a way, even though they hadn't brought in a law to end freedom of speech, they've already handed it over because they're scared of the repercussions. So in order to feel safe, they opt for silence. And now we are here, and our Treasurer just said this morning that they are basically curtailing free speech in order to keep you safe and protect free speech. I mean, can you imagine what Paul Hogan in his prime would do with that comment, or any stand-up comedian, if we had stand-up comedians who still had their balls? Can you imagine what they'd do with that comment? We're destroying free speech to protect free speech, is what the actual quote is, paraphrasing. But instead, you're not laughing because you know you're not allowed to laugh. So you'll just shut up. You'll pretend to ignore it. You'll pretend that everything's fine. What are you talking about? Everything's good. But it's not. Our politicians this week are going to try ram through the end of free speech, a censorship bill. They say misinformation, disinformation, but censorship. And as Kennedy said, nobody who censors free speech is the good guy. So this is where we are now. And all those shrines, every RSL in the country, if you're not rallying against this, then you're not only a hypocrite or hypocrites, but you're basically betraying everything your organization is built upon. Your soldiers went to war to defend the free speech, to defend free speech. And today you're saying silence as the government gets ready to take it. And you'll still probably sit there and stand up in the dinners and we're having dinner, and suddenly you'll stand there for a minute as though that means for a silence for the last post as though that means something. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, why bother spending all this money now? I mean, we're broke, maintaining the shrines all around the country. They don't mean anything anymore. With this bill, that we're making them meaningless. So let's get rid of them. Put up, I don't know, vaccination centres. Because you're all accepting the fact, you're all saying, yes, we understand that our clean suburban streets and our plush supermarkets are so dangerous that our veins need to be full of big pharma bullshit in order to stay safe. We couldn't survive without it because there is no God and we haven't been built with an incredible immune system that can basically keep us safe. We haven't. So Big Pharma's got to keep us safe, as the government keeps us safe. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So why don't you tell me something I don't know? Why are you doing it? Why are you staying silent? Why won't you lift a finger to stop what you know is wrong? You know this is not leading anywhere good. You know that maybe you'll avoid it for a while, but you know your kids won't, your grandkids won't, and eventually it'll catch you too. You know you have to do something, and you won't. Which means the government must be offering you something that is of greater worth than the freedoms, that will compensate you for you knowingly betraying the sacrifices of your forefathers, for you knowing that you're handing over your children and your grandchildren's liberty. You know you're doing it. So there must be some reward. What is it? Is it really this desperate need you have to feel safe? Or is it something else? I really and truly don't know. I'm despairing today, not that probably people give a shit, but I'm despairing today because I woke up to Jim Chalmers going, yeah, we're gonna take free speech, you know, by getting rid of free speech. And this is one of our leaders. Maybe with your last free utterance, you could find the courage to explain to the rest of us, just in one comment, yeah, I'm really frightened of the world, and the government looks like they're big and strong, so I'm going to do whatever they say because I need to feel safe, or anything like that. If you can't find the courage to defend it, then explain to us why. Because this is a dark day. Nothing I say is going to change your mind. And you probably won't have the courage to admit because it's too shameful. But as far as I can see, that shame is the only gift you're getting in return. And no matter how many holiday houses you buy, no matter how many trips around the world you can afford, no matter how well paid your job is, you will not be able to remove that shame if you're a normal human being, not a sociopath. That shame will be with you to the grave. Fortunately, the government is giving you something to hide it. Silence. So you're going to be full of shame, knowing that you were a part of the community that betrayed basically the fundamental freedoms of our community, and all that shame. And you'll hide it under silence from now to the grave. That's all I can see they're offering you. And I cannot fathom as to why any of you would accept that deal.
Yeah, we think misinformation and disinformation is a big threat to people's safety and to our society and to our economy as well. And we want to hold the big tech platforms to account. And the steps that we are taking when it comes to misinformation and disinformation are about protecting and cherishing and advancing free speech, not censoring it.